we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, with planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside SPD off. Bring in SPD off. It's orange!
Orange 45! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
If the methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Hello, everybody.
I'm not sure if we have Chris here, but hello, everybody. Welcome to this very good opportunity to take a live stream. And we are live here with a Ship 37 roll. And as you can see, we have Ship 37 already on Highway 4 and rolling down the highway. I'm not sure if I have everybody here. I'm just improvising here because it was quiet. Hello, everybody. Let's see here. Chris, do we have you?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Hello, we have you back.
I never changed anything. That was weird. I have no idea what happened there, but anyway, I was busy doing an introduction and doing a really amazing speech. It was actually a speech I'd written over this course of like all day. It was incredible start to this opening this stream, but unfortunately it never got through to the internet, but there we go. Actually, I was just saying we're excited about this because it's quite a unique static fire test campaign. Normally, Ship 37 would be going to masses, but no, it's going to the pad for a static fire test campaign. How, you say? Well, they've MacGyvered the pad. So we're going to see it being added quite uniquely to this test site for its static fire test campaign. Adrian, you've already introduced yourself by going on. I have no idea. My microphone is flawless. It never fails, never goes wrong. That's the first time I've had like an audio problem. So anyway, at least it's fixed. But also joining us is Mr. Ryan Webber. Hello, Ryan.
Well, hey everyone, how's it going? Yeah, 37 going to the pad for a static fire, not a suborbital stand, because those don't exist anymore. It's going to pad A, because SpaceX decided to modify their booster test stand turned launch pad to a ship static fire stand, and then it's going to go back to a launch pad. But anyways, yeah.
Super. Luckily, the stream is fine, but I have everyone in my ear, which means I cannot hear myself speak. Ryan Caton is producing. Can you mute some of the other audio so that thank God for that. You have no idea how weird that is, where you get the voice back at you like half a second later. It is the most distracting thing possible. But there we go. Thankfully, I can now only hear just one version of me, which is one's enough, as we say. If you do have any questions in chat, by the way, do at NASASpaceflight, followed by your question. It'll go into our panel. We'll answer as many as we can. Yes, if you're just joining us right now, this is Ship 37, rolling down Highway 4, not to masses, but to the launch site. And that's where it'll conduct static fire tests. Ryan, do you think it'll conduct the usual two, the single engine in-flight burn and then the full 6-engine burn?
Yeah, I expect them to conduct two. I still expect them to do some kind of load test before they go through in static fire, because of how jank and new this setup is. I'm actually waiting to get a good shot, hopefully get a good view of the QD. I don't think they have a plate on it yet, so once they lift this vehicle onto the pad, they're going to have to install a QD and then manually hook up the hoses and then test that entire system. If they go straight to a static fire, SpaceX is at least in my mind, certifiably insane to just come up with this system and just go straight to lighting engines. That is certifiable insanity. But whatever. If they wanna go ahead, and they can go ahead. But I honestly think they should be doing at least a tanking test. I kind of hope they do at least one to make sure the software is good to go, make sure all the connections are good. Because you don't want to ship like 36 again. You don't want that to happen again.
Making quite good pace, I must admit. The TPS on this sideward view doesn't make me feel too confident about the turnaround between it returning to the production site and launch, but I don't think it takes them that long. And also, they do not put a full coat of TPS like we've seen in the earlier days, because they are testing in the hopeful event that ship gets to re-entry, that they can test their limits on the TPS. I mean, Adrian, we've been seeing these tests for a while now where they take away some of the TPS in areas on the ship where they think they can survive, and they'll be testing it during a re-entry of this Flight 10 vehicle.
Absolutely. So we already know that the last failure was basically a bit of an out of spec. Like it's basically they also got a bit unlucky in that sense. So I have quite an optimistic. I still think SpaceX is the best company in the world to fix things. So I think there's a very good chance that they at this flight will get a step closer and we will get a proper re-entry. I also think they will static fire tomorrow or Wednesday, for the record, because I heard more of a pessimist approach here. I would not call them insane. I will call them brave. And I think right now they are hauling as fast as they can. And I think there's a very good chance we will see a static fire by midweek. And I don't think they will do a tanking test.
Very good. Side of the Star Factory, are they looking to set up a new mural or something like that? I'm not too sure. We've seen photographs from Caesar and Jack. It doesn't really give any clues what they're doing yet. Ryan, have you got any insight in what they may be doing on the side of the Star Factory here?
I think they've been having leaking problems, whether it's water or other issues, and I think they were trying to install like vapor barrier on, and then put the cladding back on to try to seal it. They've had the issues around this spot multiple times, where the cladding transitions to the glass. So I think they're just having some leaking issues, and they're just trying to solve them. I think that's all it is.
That's something I never have a problem with. I never leak. Well said. I want to thank some people. We don't deserve it to start the stream. The start of the stream was horrendous, but we're in a groove now. We've got everything working properly. Isaac Chapman became a launch director member. North of Antarctica, not again. If you're used to Raptor sides, we get North of Antarctica going absolutely bonkers with the super chats, and you've gone bonkers again. And I certainly don't deserve the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Yorkshire. I certainly don't deserve that at all. So, Mr. Antarctica, please, as a Yorkshireman, I can't be. Oh yes, thank you very much. I appreciate the support. I'm like, no, I'm an idiot. Don't focus on me. We've got talent here. That's why they don't let me on mainstreams, because I'm just like, the mumbling numpty. Apocalypse Cow was gifted 10 Red Team memberships, and there's lots of these. So if you did get a membership for free, Doug, no, you're not allowed to post that in chat. It's York City FC. You should be posting there. Thank you very much. If you did get a membership in chat, just say thank you, because it's free and it's very much appreciated by all, because it helps us and it helps the community. The community is awesome here, because Ronnie Taylor's gifted a Red Team membership. Why am I cursed, Adrian? Someone has actually got a username called Why Am I Cursed? Any idea where that came from?
That account was about 5 minutes after I made that joke, I think, that mispronunciation. Or like brain fart is actually, I think, the proper description of what happened there. Anyway, that account was pretty fast after that, so I compliment whoever secured that name, because I feel like there was a race in our community to secure that name, and which has since then been present in our chat.
Yes, and gifted 5 Red Team memberships. So there we go. So thank you very much for that, Wayamicus. By the way, Doug, all joking aside, congratulations getting back in the Premiership, Premier League. Absolutely great work there. Jake Windler's gifted 5 Red Team memberships, and North Antarctica's back again with 5 Red Team memberships. That's bonkers, right? So lots of people have become members from guests, and at a very good time. That's where I was trying to go with that. A very good time because we've got a very exciting period coming up now. We potentially have Ship 37 static firing at Pad 1, Pad A, what do you want to call it? Just don't call it Pad East or Pad West. That's the one thing we don't allow. And then we're going to have Ship 38 doing cryo testing, which may have been happening while this is happening as well with the static fire test campaigns. Both these vehicles are for Flight 10 and Flight 11, so we could have 2 flights within a month. Ryan, am I getting carried away? Because the current projection is mid-August-ish for Flight 10. And late September-ish for Flight 11. Is that way too ambitious in your eyes?
They can do it because they have the experience and how they have to put this entire MacGyvered contraption together. And that's also, and it's still depending on whether or not SpaceX decides to go ahead and static fire both vehicles. We'll see if they do. We'll see if they don't. It's a decision they'll have to make. I would assume that if they don't, then Flight 11 would probably be end of September into October. But you also have to remember here is if 37 does go perfect, say it launches, it gets re-entry, gets all the data it needs, SpaceX is happy with it. While flying 38 would get you a little bit more data, what's the point to that? At that point, you want to go to Block 3. And the other part of that is you don't really need to rush to get 38 out. The only upside to pushing to get 38 flying as quick as possible is, well, once it's gone, the quicker you can start scrapping Pad A and moving on to rebuilding it. So,
yep, absolutely. I've got a question which I can actually answer. From Fixation, where are all 4 shuttles? Have you been to them all? I've not been to them all, but we've got Endeavour at the California Science Museum in California, obviously. And that is actually quite nice because California was the birthplace for the orbiters at Palmdale, Plant 42. So they were all born there and then sent over. There was eventually going to be a plan to have Discovery launch from Slick 6 as the West Coast shuttle for polar orbits for the DoD. But of course, the Challenger disaster made the DoD step back from buying payloads on shuttle, and that's why the whole plan fell through and they all went to the East Coast. Atlantis, the best shuttle, is obviously at the Kennedy Space Center because being the best shuttle, she got the home base. At the Kennedy Space Center Visit Center, a really nice exhibition. You've got Discovery at the Smithsonian, and you've got Enterprise on the Intrepid Museum with Alicia. So that's where they all are. There are talk about moving one to Houston, but I don't know what's going to happen with that. It seems like a silly idea. We'll see what happens. I mean, Houston does deserve, obviously, more than just a mock-up. But the whole transportation is going to be a real pain, and I just fear could cause damage. There's plans where the people saying they could chop the wings off and truck it down. I was like, oh no, that's not good. We'll see. We'll see what the plans denote in the end, but that's where all 4 shuttles are. That's a question I could answer straight away. Jonah M asks, is this the MacGyver ship? No, the pad is. So Ryan, we're going to go back to you on this. Just a quick outline on how they've modified Pad 1. We're going to call it Pad 1 because that's what SpaceX want to call it. Pad 1 to allow for a ship to be static fired on the orbital launch mount.
So they've taken a older ship transport stand and basically all the openings around it, they've welded covers on it. They've added 6 posts on the inside, which will be for the RVAC bracing. They need those because in order to fire the RVACs at sea level, they need to brace the nozzles so the nozzles don't flex and rip themselves to pieces. Because they're not technically really made to fire at sea level. They're made to fire in a vacuum. So that had to be added in. And that stand got placed on the 20 hold down arms after all the booster clamps got removed. So that stands in there. That's your adapter right there. And then for the RVACs. For the propellant and high pressure side, SpaceX cut a bunch of holes, like 6 or 7 different holes into the booster QD hood. and they brought out the methane reclamation line, reclaim line, all the pre-press lines, the supply lines, all the high-pressure lines, and they put them up into this truss section that they welded to the hood, and then attached a bunch of hoses to it, and then they're going to put the ship on that stand. They'll then have to lift a QD into place and then manually hook the hoses to it. And it won't be like straight on because the truss section's actually higher than the QD, so it'll like droop down and they'll have to manually like strap the QD to the ship. It's gonna look so janky. It's jank times 1,000, MacGyver times 1,000 for everything. It's one of the craziest things they've done, to be honest with you. And that's how they're gonna try to static fire a ship on Pad A. We'll see how it works. I'm still in the camp of I'm totally expecting them to run into a lot of issues. I'm fully expecting it.
Mm-hmm. Interestingly, I think it actually looks quite nice. When they started doing it, like taking chunks out of the booster quick disconnect hood, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, is it going to be like pipes everywhere? It actually does look quite nice. I mean, I must admit, I think it's an improvement on what I thought it would be. It does look like it can take what will be an interesting static fire campaign, because I do have a question in chat. I want to take this because obviously SpaceX would have thought about this, but Adrian, I've got a question here asking, what's the chances that the ship could basically hop off the pad during a static fire test campaign? What stops that from happening?
First, they usually use a bit of counterweight on the LOX tank. So they fill up the LOX tank a bit. That basically reduces the thrust on the... Oh god, it's speeding. On the clamps itself. And of course, this is on a ship transport stand with clamps, right? Like, you can see it like a ship being transported right now. And there's clamps holding this. So, well, these clamps will also hold it during a static fire. That's what you use these clamps for. And I feel very confident somebody at SpaceX has done the math how much these clamps can hold, and if that works, I feel very, very safe about that.
It's the same clamps they use for the ship static fire stand.
Let's pause.
Yep. Okay.
Wow, that's loud.
Look at these tiles missing. I really wanted to have somebody at SpaceX tell me what SQR stands for.
Quick release, maybe?
It annoys me so much. So, for context, SQR is the short on every single ship transport stand. And we just don't know. It's SQR. That was beautiful tracking, by the way. That was chef's kiss.
Nice. Yeah.
10 out of 10.
We should ask Dan Howe if he will tell us what it stands for, seeing as he caused a complete riot in the community by saying it's actually called Pad 1 and Pad 2. Seeing as we've followed his instructions and gone with Pad 1 and Pad 2, we know we put A and B in brackets so people don't get confused. Maybe Dan can reply back with what SQR stands for. There we go. That's probably a deal, isn't it? That is so loud in my ear, by the way. Hopefully it wasn't too loud on stream. I don't think it was. No one was complaining. So there we go. Maybe just me. I'm getting a return noise. I can't even hear myself think right now. Elon Mollusk has gifted a Red Team membership. Ethereal Swordsman, what's the difference between me and Superman? Superman has supervision, I need supervision. Oh, we got... Sawyer's not in this stream, so we can't do puns. Astro95 Media, which is either Nathan or Brian, but I think it's Nathan. Flight 10 showed up on the FAA calendar list last week as Net 813, which is August 13. No time noted. I'm not optimistic about that date, but it shows they're getting close. That has been a reliable indicator too. Yeah, middle of August is still where we stand. It's just a case of how this test goes. I'm not going to get too excited until this test is complete and they've rolled back, and then we can get excited. Because remember, The booster has static fire. The booster is ready to go. This is just the last part. And obviously they'll do some TPS work. But Adrian, I mean, how optimistic are you about August?
I'm optimistic about August. I'm not like Ryan has totally a point. There could run into issues. Like that's a very real possibility. But I will always assume a timeline like it is right now, and just look at it. I think there's a very good chance they will complete the static fire campaign by the end of this week. That's, I think, a very, very possible scenario, depending on how many issues they have with this ship QD setup. And after that, it's just I mean, honestly, after that, the TPS, yes, it looks rough, but they can complete that in days. That's not the biggest issue of them all. We know the booster's ready. It's more a matter of how fast can they reconvert the OLM. Because once the OLM is converted, well, put a booster on it, put a ship on that, launch. I think 2 weeks after static fire completion is like or like 2 weeks after the ship is removed. Let's word it like that. 2 weeks after the ship is removed again from the OLM.
Yeah, I'd say there's a lot they gotta do to put it back together again.
True.
There's a lot.
I wonder if... Oh, God.
No, go ahead, Adrian.
I wonder if they will, like, So, of course, they have to remove the stand, right? Like, that's the one obvious thing that will cause some work. But, I mean, the ship setup, right? The ship QD setup, they will probably keep that, right? Or, like, most of it.
All has to go. All of it has to go.
Really?
All the pipes have to go. The top truss piece has to go. They can't open the booster QD. They literally cannot open the booster QD hood door right now. They cannot open it because they welded that truss piece to the top of the hood. They could keep the back one on, but it'll get melted by the launch and probably deformed enough to where it might not even be useful anymore. So if they remove that, they save it. And then, of course, all the holes they cut into the booster QD, they have to weld plates on. Otherwise, hot gases get into the QD and then melt and damage everything inside the QD. So they literally can't leave any of that on, as well as the ship, the new ship engine chill lines that they have running down the side of the OLM too. Those have to go. Like, they literally have to take every little bit they've installed off to reconvert it back.
Or they just accept they have to... Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
No. I'm going to take a break. You go ahead, Adrian. Keep going.
I mean, they have to repair the whole booster QD after every launch anyway, I feel like. That's kind of has been a tradition in Starbase at this point. After every single launch. But I feel like every time after every single launch, you see like the first team that is back there is like the booster QD team scratching their head and being like, yeah, great.
Hey, it only has to survive it only has to survive one more launch and then get repaired once more. After that, it's good. As long as it's good for flight 11, that's it. It's not needed anymore. And all of the issues with that booster QD are entirely solved on pad B. So there's the plus on that, but it just needs to live for flight 10 and 11, and that's it. So
I'm sure they're glad.
Oh, I can't even imagine the elation of the pad team to get rid of that pad. I can't even imagine. That pad is literally at the end of its line. It's done its job.
I'm going to get Adrian back here with the super chat I'm going to ask him to read out. Ethereal Swordsman, can you read this one in ticker for us, please, Adrian?
SQR stands for Skrull. Only thing possible.
Hey, that's not too bad, Adrian. That's not too bad.
In my mouth.
Oh dear, we've got so many Wyoming questions, it's ridiculous. So I'm not going to go through those. Enrique asks, how long do you think it'll take SpaceX to scrap OM1 and rebuild it? Oh, so the pad changes. We'll go with that, Enrique. So, Ryan, we've got a scenario here where they're building up pad 2, pad B, what do you want to call it, into what is going to be the set design that we're going to see at 39 and 37 and pad 2, but eventually also at pad 1. So what's the scenario, do you think, now, when they get Pad 2 operational, how long will it take to turn around Pad 1 to match?
So there's an asterisk to it. There's two parts to this. One is that they're able to get a little bit of extra land, and they're able to kind of move things around with how they want to do the trench, and they're able to knock the OLM down, dig out the foundation, and put a trench in. And then that's also removing the old fluids bunker, all the subcoolers and pumps for Pad A, and getting all that out. That'd probably take 18 to 24 months. The other part to that is they can't do it with the tower in the current configuration, and they need to move the tower, which means taking the tower down. Then you're looking at like 2 to 2.5 or more years, because they would have to take that tower down section by section, unless they found a way to blow it up and knock it over. But there's a lot of question marks on could they still use the tower where it's at, or could they not? I just would tell everyone, don't be surprised if that tower has to go. Don't, because they might actually have to change it around, because the pad design is wildly different this time around. So it could be a while before they completely redo Pad A.
It also puts a little bit of positive pressure, shall we call it, on Florida. I'm going to find a positive in all of that, Ryan, by saying that is where maybe we're seeing what has been seen on Space Coast Live, a lot of activity at 39A right now, more than there's ever been on the Starship side. I mean, we used to see one crane there now and again, and maybe a little playing around with the chopsticks. That's what we had for a long time. Now we're seeing an absolute multitude of cranes there. A lot of work on our flyover photographs, and Harry Stranger does his satellite photographs. Follow him if you're not, and definitely support him on Patreon, because he's buying those images. He's buying those satellite images and putting them out on X. I mean, that's not cheap. So support him if you can. We can see a lot of work going on there. So maybe let's take Ryan's answer and go to Space Coast and think, well, hang on a minute. SpaceX know this. Obviously, they know this. That they need to have the launch capability to cater for their 2026, 2027 manifests, for example. And that's where they need 39A to be active and 37 to be well on the way to being active. Would that be a fair representation, Ryan?
Yeah, it's I expect 39A to be up and running middle of next year is what I'm expecting, at least. They have a lot of work still to do on it. But I think you're going to have Pad B plus 39A running and going, basically launching back and forth while they're redoing Pad 1 and Pad A, and while they're starting to build 37, because they should be able to start major, like, actual groundwork, like piles and stuff on 37, hopefully fall end of this year when they get a lease and the EIS is finished. That's the hope, that they can start that, and at that point they have to start all that from scratch. And if you look at Pad B as an example, it's taken them, it's gonna hit about 18 months to go from nothing to a fully operational pad, which, considering it's a pad for the most powerful rocket ever built, that's insane. In only 18 months, that's nuts. 2 pads at 37 in 18 months to 2 years. I mean, they might be able to pull that off. That would be kind of nuts. And then all of a sudden you get 3 more pads online with 37 and 1 more at Starbase, and boom, they have 5 pads in like 2028.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating, really, how SpaceX is pushing forward with this, because they do have these goals of sending ships to Mars in a timeline that suggests they need that capacity. So I'm hopeful in that respect. And I also never bet against SpaceX. Remember, we got Roberts Road at KSC, where they build the sections for the towers in double quick time. We got the flyover view of the orbital launch mount for 39A, and it's pretty much nearly done. I mean, I say that without absolutely saying it's complete, but it's nearly done. And that was kind of like out of the blue. So that's pretty much a good sign of how fast SpaceX can get their act together on things like this. So I find optimism in this all. I tend to think whatever I think is too fast or too soon can be achieved because they've proven it over the years. And that's something I always take with me. I've got a question that's definitely for Adrian. Can you, Glenn, catch up to Starship in launch cadence?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I think the answer is... So my answer is yes. However, the question is it even designed to? Because there is SpaceX has a cadence in mind with Starship that most rocket companies don't even can fill in terms of their manifest. There is a question how much New Glenn even has as a design cadence. I think once they get to landing and have like regular booster landing, we have seen them producing second stages now, at least in a good pace. So yeah, I think it could fly. Like what's their Starship's cadence right now? Every 2 or 3 months. That's very reasonable, I think, for New Glenn to achieve in the near distance future. However, of course, it first has to solve reusability, because yes, reusability is a cost thing, but it's also a cadence thing, because it takes you a lot of time to rebuild a booster. Refurbishing it might go a bit faster. So that's what New Glenn has to prove first, and I hope we see reusability on it fairly soon.
I'm notorious for not thanking the producer on these streams, and I think I definitely did during my non-working microphone phase at the start. But Ryan Caton is pulling out these clips like a demon. I mean, he has got this brand new fibre connection that he's very proud of in Norfolk. And it's something where he's just... I'm talking about Mars, and suddenly there's Mars renders on screen. I start talking about a question about New Glenn, and suddenly there's New Glenn launch from DY's in the screen. It's amazing. How is he doing this? It's witchcraft. It's amazing. Teach me, Ryan. Teach me. Brianna Matthews, thank you for your support as always. Every single time I see your name, it's like a regular occasion. So I really do appreciate it. And I'll make sure I'm making a little point in there about that, because it is great support. Do you see them replacing or reorient Pad A1? It's getting to all of us, isn't it? Just because the orientation of the new trench. So Ryan was pretty much covering that. He must have seen it in the panel and basically covered that earlier. But that is something where they are going to have to consider it. And that I don't like things where SpaceX have to take several years out of a pad. It's not very SpaceXy. So I wonder if the clever folk at SpaceX have found a different solution to that. But it'd be interesting to see. So we'll keep a very close eye on it. Again, it's all interesting, all intriguing. I do like interesting things. And this is certainly an interesting thing to cover. Starbase, there's always something happening. Thank you to Self for gifting Red Team membership as well. Very much appreciated. And Ethereal Swordsman's back. Well, eventually as Starship comes more online, we should also get the Vandy pads, yep, Slick 6. And more interesting to me is what eventually happens to the 3 Falcon pads. Will they eventually turn to Starship pads? Oh, good question. Right, so first of all, Adrian, you're definitely getting this, but Slick 6, my favourite West Coast pad. I mean, I love it because it's a great pad even when it was with ULA. I mean, it was still a great pad. It doesn't have to be because of the shuttle history. That never happened. That is an amazing area for a Starship pad. It should SpaceX choose. Now, remember, SpaceX has taken the lease of Slick 6. That has happened, but... we're talking about the Falcon pads in general, like Slick 40 and things like that. Do you think that Falcon has a timeline of its remain? I mean, I think it's going to keep launching for many years yet. But eventually, will it be retired, and will they then convert it to Starship, Adrian?
Yes. So the essence is every single rocket will be retired at some point, even Falcon. I think Falcon has a good 5, 7, 8 so years for sure left in a very busy manifest. So until 2032 or something, nothing will happen to these pads. However, I mean, most of them are leased, so it's a matter of, will the lease be extended to Starship? Will they be will that work, or will they even work on alternatives in the meantime? Like, for example, on Pad 40. Once you get other pads at the Space Coast running, do you even need Pad 40 anymore to rework it? Or do you work on other pads to configure them for Starship and just retire Pad 40, right? Like, it's a bit of a question of, because you would need to Pad 40 is not built to support Starship in any shape or form. So that would take some effort. Right now, my feeling is they will work on Starship infrastructure next to all of this, like they do already, and they will just retire pads once they are going to be retired.
Very good. Whatever face, great username. 2827 as well. And yeah, there must be several people who've taken that username. That's mad. What is the chance that Ship 38 is caught? I don't think it'll happen, but I want to know, since I heard a while ago they were going to go for one more splashdown then catch. So that was the plan until Block 2 started having the problems. Oh, by the way, that's Slick 6. Amazing place. But yes, as far as the catching goes, we've got Flight 10. They're definitely not going to be catching the ship on Flight 10. Flight 11, Adrian, do you think they're going to catch it on Flight 11 if everything goes well on Flight 10?
No. Block 2 had a lot of issues. There's also a regulatory side here of proving they can do it. And they would need to have a flawless Flight 10. And even then, it's highly risky. I mean, to play my own devil's advocate, if you want to test it in a very YOLO way with a pad, you might do it on Flight 11 because you don't need that pad anymore. But you kind of need to tank farm. So it's a matter of how much they're willing to risk. I don't think so. Ryan, what's your take on this?
No, they're not gonna try to. I don't think you're gonna see a ship catch until ship 40, 41, probably 41 or higher. I fully expect 37 to be fully suborbital, 38 to be suborbital. Your first full stack of Block 3, I wouldn't be surprised if they expend that booster. It is such a different design. I wouldn't be surprised if they expend both vehicles on that flight. Maybe they'll try to get him back to learn that kind of stuff there. But it is such a new vehicle that I also wouldn't be surprised if they expend it, and then they try to catch like 19 and 40, or something along those lines. But I'm not expecting a ship orbital trajectory and catch until middle of next year at this rate. I'm really not expecting that. They need to make sure Block 3 works, because they tried to hit the ground running and push ahead with Block 2 when in so many ways it blew up in their faces, in like literally and figuratively. So
yeah, I agree. Like 40, 41, somewhere in there. Like that feels honestly very, very realistic to me.
How is Ryan Caton doing this? We started talking about catching ships, and he must have gone right. Okay, I remember that was a graphic and Elon presentation inside Star Factory. I'm going to find that video, scroll to the part where that is actually in the video, which is a 1-hour video for a start, and then had it shown within 5 seconds of us talking about it. It's witchcraft. I don't know how he does it. It's amazing. We're going to lose him to the BBC at this rate. Guess which nerd I am. Well, we're going to try and guess. But you did $100 tip. What the heck? for a rollout stream. Tips is just another way of doing like a super chat, but it's where we get everything rather than Google taking a cut, which is still, we still very much appreciate super chats because we get most of it. But that is bonkers. Thank you. Decided to provide you 100% of my gift from my favorite channel. Bless you. I've got a funny feeling you might be the same person who's been doing the big ones earlier. DM me if you are, because I know who you are. But that is amazing. Thank you for your support. I don't think you got that many usernames, so maybe it's someone different. Thank you very much for your support. That means everything, because this is not a cheap operation we do here. These are all our live views. We're not just talking over some SpaceX stream here. These are our cameras. And SpaceX aren't even streaming it. By the way, speaking about the rollout, this is a road that is getting wider. I did see a question, here we go, from Load Runner. Are they widening the road where the school bus is parked? So we saw the rollout with the SPMTs going past the big noise, going past the highway cameras, one of our sites. What is actually our land? Talking about supporting us, we bought land in there. You know, it's crazy. We actually own land in Texas where we put our bots. So that's our area. But there's a school bus park next to it, and it is a wider kind of. There've been a lot of road works on Highway 4. Ryan, are they widening this road to like a dual carriageway kind of thing? I don't know what the American version of that is.
I think it should be 2 lanes on each side with a decently sized shoulder. I think it was like 8 to 12 feet on the shoulder, and then I think there's a center lane as well. I think that was the proposed plan. I'd have to go back and look at the thing, because they had like a public comment period, I think, back in like January on it, and it would basically be wide enough to allow a vehicle to roll and also traffic to go off to the side. While the vehicle's rolling. That's how much wider they want to make it. And I think a lot of it's concreted rather than asphalt, which would make it last a little bit longer than what it currently does, which for anyone who's driven on Highway 4, I haven't, well, that would be a godsend, to say the least. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's dual carriageway. In the UK, we've got motorways like the M1's like 3 lanes either side. But on most A roads, it's like dual carriageway. You've got 2 lanes and then 2 lanes. And we drive on the correct side of the road, by the way. Quickly moving on.
No,
Quickly moving on. Severin asks, I'm going to take this as well. Severin asks, do you think they'll name crewed starships like they did with Shuttle? I really hope so. Now, we know that Elon said Heart of Gold for the first one to Mars, didn't he? I don't know if that still applies. But, Adrian, do you think... I mean, there's going to be a lot of them. There's going to be a lot of these ships. They're going to run out of names. So, do you think... What do you think?
I think they might. I think for the first ones, like for the first like very significant ones, they will name them. I think for anything that is crewed, they will keep the crew tradition of the crew naming it. I think down the line, I don't think they will name tankers. Like, I don't think they will name tankers. I don't think they will name like lots of these Starlink suppliers. I think these will just be like, I don't know, ship Starlink _001. So, I think
like
significant.
Tanker,
yeah.
Like T, like for tankers it'd be like T001 or T21 or something, and then like Starlink ships are the S numbers and cargo ships are like C numbers, and then for crewed ships you go, ship whatever, you use the registry number, and then you also give it a name. I mean, we got to bring Star Trek into this, so even the USS Saratoga, USS Enterprise, Yorktown, whatever. And of course, if you have a ship with the same name, you then do S42 USS Enterprise, and then it's S42-A, B, C. You gotta do that if you keep making them, right? Right.
Yeah, I really do like the options they have. By the way, Ryan showing off now with his own photograph of Discovery. This is Ryan Caton's own photograph. He's going to draw something horrendous on here. Here we go. He's not allowed to put Best Shuttle because that's Atlantis, so it'd be factually incorrect. And we do like to be factual on these streams. But I mean, I do hope. We've seen Endeavour being named, a Crew Dragon named Endeavour, and the reference made, Mike Fink at the crew walkout that we were covering live on NSF, was mentioning the fact that he's now going to be flying on both Endeavours, the Shuttle Endeavour and Dragon Endeavour. So that is something where there's some synergy that could certainly apply. I do like the idea of sci-fi coming in because Elon is very much into his sci-fi. So there could be definitely Star Trek names coming in there in the future as well. I know he likes Battlestar Galactica as well, which is very encouraging because Battlestar Galactica, especially the new version, is fantastic. I say new version, it's quite old now, but the Ronald D. Moore version of Battlestar Galactica was fantastic. Really was. So I hope so. More questions. I do have a lot of questions where different people have asked the same question, so forgive me if I don't ask your actual question. I tend to take one of them that covers all the bases, about 3 or 4 questions from 3 or 4 different people. So bear with me while I just ask one of them, and then we'll try and cover the bases that way. One of them, example of that, is Calib Report asking, don't forget that Elon has a technical update before Flight 10. Was it before he said, Ryan, that he was going to do a technical update?
Yeah, I said something like that and quote unquote technical update. I mean, who knows how technical it's going to be. I hope it's somewhat technical, but we'll see how technical it actually is. And the ship has entered the launch site, by the way.
Yeah.
I'll just to say it is going through the new entrance. So it's the D1 entrance to the launch site. It's the new entrance by Pad B. It's about to go between the deluge and high pressure side of the tank farms and stuff, and then the tower. So there's an opening that goes right over both of the cryo trenches. It's going to go through there, and then it's going to go straight towards Pad A. So that's where Ship 37 is right now, by the way.
It seems to be going quite a good pace. I mean, this is the back way round, and obviously, they've designed this path for it, but it doesn't seem to be slowing down all that much. So that's pretty encouraging as well. It is fascinating because if you have just joined us and you're thinking, hang on a minute, this is exciting. What's going on here? There we go. There's an overview. Ryan, of course, has an aerial photograph ready to go of showing the farm. It's even a draw.
Well, that's not the direction it's going in because Google Maps hasn't updated with the new D1 gate. It's basically, let's see if Ryan can figure it out. But anyways, it's literally it can now go in a straight line rather than having to do a tight turn to get in. And it makes the rolls a little bit quicker because they don't have to go along the wall or anything. They can just go straight into the launch site and go straight towards the pad. So,
I think Adrian has a special message to tell us all. I hope. Adrian?
Oh, sorry, I was totally talking while muted. I love, by the way, that Ryan that Ryan draw light gray on dark gray. Always great thing to show. But I'm not sure if we're ready to show that yet, Chris. I will wait for the producers' thumbs up in the back channel.
Very good. What are you doing, Alex? Ooh, when you're ready. Because I do miss those interruptions from Alex on streams because it's something exciting.
Okay, we are ready.
Oh, there we go.
So let me preface this because this was initially pushed to our Capcom and above members because we are changing warehouses. And in the process of changing warehouses, we found some extremely limited stock of items that were previously discontinued. So you might be wondering, where did these patches and plushies come from? Usually we hold a small number of these limited edition products in reserve for emergencies because sometimes shipping goes bad, right? Like it can happen. And in these cases, we want to be able to make it right. This is the stock that was formally reserved for that purpose. In the last week, we have started this process of changing warehouses and gave our Capcom and above members the opportunity to purchase these items, these final, basically, former make-good items in clearing out this warehouse. And now that we are, we gave members the chance to do that. We now also want to give everybody to give a chance to get Flight 5, which is still available there, the Flight 5 patch, which has a few more units, and the full stack plushie, which also has a few more units here that we found that were formerly replacement units. So if you have interest in these items that are no longer on the store, that we are now making available, you can check them out in the link that is now pinned in the chat. I will tell you, and that's one important thing here, because this is a clear out of a former, already replacement stock, we will not be able to replace anything. In case something goes lost in shipping, we can only refund you. We cannot replace any units. We don't have anything anymore after this in terms of that. So basically make sure to have that in mind when you order. But this is the final clearance before we change warehouses. Wanted to quickly mention that it's pinned in the chat, correct, Chris?
It's pinned in chat, yes. We do have a very active and very personal, not AI, actual people to reply to in store message. I just saw a message from Christopher about Flight 9's patches. email the store. We can definitely check out what's going on there. I've got a funny feeling you might have ordered it with the Shrug patch at the same time, and the Shrug patch is still pre-order. Have we got an update on when that's shipping? Because that'll be why he's probably not got his Flight 9 patch just yet.
Yes, I want to quickly. If you go at the top of the shop, Ryan. Sorry, I know you just changed it, but at the top of the shop, you have an icon called Shopcom. Shopcom is our new block system, and there you can see a Shrug patch update, and also an update on shipping for bundled patches. These are both relevant to the cause here. The Shrug patch, right now, we had a bit of a delay there. The reasons are in that blog post. We are currently expecting shipping in the 2nd or 3rd week of August. The reason why some of you have not received the Flight 9 patch is probably because you ordered together with the Shrug patch, and with the bundle and shipping, that is just how we decided to do that, to reduce shipping costs for you. They wait basically for the Shrug patch to arrive. They get put in one envelope, right? Otherwise, you had 2 envelopes. That's the reason why they have probably not shipped yet. So go to shop.com in the shop.nasaspace.com website, and you can read this for yourself at your own pace and make sure that you'll get updated on these 2 products. And there's also the contact link there. If you have any further questions, we will make sure to answer them. And this is not like we are not having an AI or anything answer that. We have Kristen who's answering the store mails, and also Chris who's answering store mails. So yeah, that's actually us here.
Yeah, if you get Christian, you're more likely to get a really friendly reply. If me, I'm like, oh, it's a numpty Chris. Oh no, I got Chris. Unlucky. If you get Kristen, you're lucky, because Kristen's really lovely. There we go. But yes, we make sure we personally look after you. Unlike, a lot of places these days, as you'll know, you probably get some robotic phone call kind of like thing where they're trying to give you an AI answer. No, we never do that. We always personal approach. Drew Nar, thank you for your support. Giga Road. I don't think it's going to be that wide. I think Giga Bay is going to be massive, but Giga Road doesn't really work for Highway 4 unless they make it some like LA freeway we've seen in those, like with their 15 lane wide. That'd be more like a Giga Bay. Giga Road, should say. Falcon, there are renders of short towers at the Cape, presumably for catches. Do you think there'll be something they maybe do at Starbase in the future? Ryan, catch towers. Oh, what do you reckon?
As much as I always hated catch towers in the past, the more you think about it, the more it makes sense, because they can't really catch a ship with a booster already on the pad, not with the way it's set up. So, we don't really know how tall the ship any catch towers would be. It would likely be shorter, because of course there's no reason to really make them taller, but we'll have to wait and see how they build it and everything like that. But of course, that's a decent way down the road at this point.
Yeah, that's just an envisioning we've got there. We don't have any official renders yet of what they're planning on that. Even the official render on the new SpaceX website's a little bit off. It's got no tank farm. It's like, what's going on there, SpaceX? So there's a lot of envisioning going on right now, but it is exciting what they're going to do at 37. I do have a Delta question for Delta's biggest fan, Adrian. You ready for this? Will SpaceX launch Starship from the exact spot Delta 4 launched from at Slick 37?
To my knowledge, that is not the case. If I'm not completely mistaken where the towers are versus where the old Delta pad was, I think they are closer to the coast, but I would have to look it up. But my initial reaction is I don't think that's the case. I think Delta was more in the middle of the perimeter, while the Starship pads are more to the side of the perimeter.
I think the closest thing would be a catch tower to where the old pad was. If they built a catch tower, yeah.
I think you're right. Like the old Delta pad was like more like very centered around the pad itself, and this is like Starship is actually more to the side. That is wow, Ryan. At this point, it feels a bit like flexing.
Yeah, right.
Did Ryan Caton find D-Wise's Delta 4 Heavy launch video within 3 seconds of us starting to talk about the launch from the Delta site? Oh my word. That's crazy.
At this point, I feel like he doesn't want to drop the ball here anymore. Like he wants to really keep this going until the end.
No, You know what we should do now? We should find like a way of catching him out. Like bring up someone like a Venture Star launch from Vandenberg. Oh, where's this Venture Star video, Ryan? Where is it? I'm joking. Bideford, by the way, you didn't have to super chat. You could have just messaged in chat. I find this hard video. I have no idea how to DM Chris. I've just DM'd you, Bideford. Check your DMs. I've DM'd you. So there we go. That solves that problem. Oh my word, he didn't. Oh, that's unbelievable.
There was Winchester.
I don't believe it. Oh my word. Okay, right. This is a kind of a good question because we can kind of cover this with Burst Starbase as well. Hi, Talk. I know this is a Starship stream, but where are you all going to be setting up for the East Coast, Best Coast? That's good, true, very true. For Crew 11, my family wants to meet the people behind the streams. I'm always watching. They'll be at the press site, which is media only. So you won't be able to just pop up to them while they're doing a stream because you'd need a badge for that. Huh. So that's one thing you can't do. But one thing I will say is at Starbase, if you see our team like Daz and Kerr out there at Starbase, just pop and say hello because that's obviously an open road and it's not media area. And we'll try and hand you a patch. We always try and hand out patches to people who meet us at these events.
This is interesting.
Yes?
They have turned and... Are they... crab crawling 37, I think. I thought it looks like they parked it for a second there. Yeah, okay. It looks like they turned it around and they're going to try to put it in the sticks that way. I thought they parked it off to the side of Pad A and they were going to add something to it, but it looks like they just did a quick turnaround. So, yeah. Anyways.
We also had on Space Coast Live a booster return. Adrian, remind me which booster's returning.
I'm blanking as well.
I am blanking.
I'm looking at the back channel here. I would have to look it up.
Hang on. Gage is typing in the back room.
Yeah, sorry. I can tell you which mission it's most likely from, but
1078.
So that's Starlink 1026.
There we go.
It's 1078 flight 22nd from Starlink Group 10-26.
Awesome. Yep, it's now called 23. Yep, the rules are once it lands on a drone ship. This is a true thing. SpaceX have told us. We're not making this up. Once it lands, it gets the extra number, and that's where we got the old 15-2 from and things like that because we're following the Falcon naming. So that is where Ryan's got the next space flight up as well, showing the history of the booster. There we go. That's very cool. I do see that people have been getting into our warehouse to the point I think we're selling out of stuff already. Brad just goes, hello from Alonda, and actually gets 3 messages in there. When you're actually on a live stream like this now, where we're talking, you can actually buy things from the store and put a message in, and it comes up like a super chat, so I can put these on screen. You did get some patches. Here we go. I'm just going through them all, Brad. You've got 3 things there, and I'm just going to click on them and see what comes up. There's one patch there, another patch there. I think that's one of our best patches. That's the DOS patch. I will leak, Adrian. And suggest that the design we have for Flight 10 is our best one yet. Would you agree? Yes, there we go.
Yeah. Like I will totally. I will not leak what it is. You will see at full stack. But holy moly, that design is ridiculously good. There, I said it.
A question, Ryan. I'll give it to you. Question.
Okay.
From Jan, who asks, we saw Ship 38. Now, Ship 38 is at Masses right now, ahead of its cryo testing. Test the payload bay door twice. Has any other ship done this sort of testing at Masses? I don't remember it. Do you remember any other previous payload bay door testing at Masses with ships?
Usually they have it locked, so maybe they're actually trying to figure out why the door wasn't working for once. You know, maybe.
Yeah.
I gotta say, this looks wrong. Is it just me?
Why?
There's a ship at the pad with no booster. That's why.
It looks very odd. You're like, it gives you the sense of, oh, flight is about to happen, and then you're like, nope.
There's no booster at the pad.
It's where you could do, I don't do it, Ryan, because I know you probably could, a speech bubble from the ship going, you're missing something here. Where's my ride? Where is my ride to orbit? By the way, I did have some SSTO questions on this, which stands for single stage to orbit. Gabriel asks, Ryan, I have no idea how to answer this one, so it's for you. If Ship 39 is the same height as a Falcon 9 because of it's the first V3 ship, can SpaceX potentially launch it into orbit without Super Heavy?
I don't think ship has enough delta V to. Pretty sure it can SSTO. I'm trying to. I don't even know what the thrust on. We don't even know the final thrust on Raptor 3 at this point. But it's also not the same height as Falcon 9, as Alex is saying in the back channel. Ship can't SSTO itself. That requires a decent amount. Even just the ship is heavy enough on alone, because I think Block 3 is going to be around 1,600 metric tons on its own. Just propellant and well, actually no, that's just propellant. It's going to be like 1,800 total with weight or something along those lines. So, but yeah, you'd probably have to strip a lot of hardware if you wanted to try to SSTO it.
It's funny because we did mention VentureStar earlier, where Ryan, I actually found a render as well. VentureStar was going to be an SSTO, single stage to orbit. It was pretty much a flying fuel tank. I mean, it really was. I mean, there was very little else apart from that, but it was linear aerospike engines, the XRS 2200 engines, which were fantastic. Tori Bruno worked on VentureStar. Little fun fact for you there. There you go. There's VentureStar X33 on the left, which was the demonstrator, and then VentureStar on the right-hand side. And that was going to be also point-to-point. They had to render from Lockheed Martin showing people at an airport catching a VentureStar for a point-to-point flight across the world in under 30 minutes, under an hour or less, which is exactly what Starship has portrayed itself to be. Although we've not heard anything since. I think the focus is obviously on these test flights, Starlink launches, HLS, and then to Mars, the moon of Mars. That's the main focus of SpaceX, as understandably it is. But point-to-point is still on their website. It's still there. It's still a concept that they could use Starship for, which is what VentureStar was also going to be doing as well, as long with its military payloads and everything else. Right. Many people are asking now is when they're going to lift it. When do you think they're going to lift it, Ryan?
It could be today. It could be tonight. It really depends on what. It depends on if they plan on putting a ship QD onto 37 before they lift it, or they plan on lifting 37 and then using a crane to attach the ship QD and then attaching the hoses. Because I don't think they're going to do hoses straight to the ship. I think they would do it to a QD plate and then put that plate to the ship to do something like that, because I think it would be a little bit easier to control leakage, any kind of leaking or any kind of pressurization that way. But at this point, we'll see. They could do it. They could do it in the next couple hours. They could do it in the next 12 to 24. You know, SpaceX and lifting vehicles. And this one is particularly interesting because they're lifting a ship onto the OLM. So it's something they've never done before. So it requires a lot of changes to software and other things to figure out. So sometime, you know.
Yeah, we are waiting to see it go inside the arms of the chopsticks, and that will be the biggest phase of this rollout. And then they'll obviously take their time. We'll be watching for things like the stabilizers to engage. It's been such a long while since this has happened now. It really has.
Yeah, almost 2 months.
Yeah. It's surreal that this used to be, you know, it takes a while for your brain to get back into the gear on how they do this. But also, as Ryan was mentioning at the start there, it's kind of weird because there's no booster there. It's different. I did see a super chat, bless you, from Gareth, who asks, who says Ship 36 payload bay door opened at masses. Yeah, it definitely opened, along with the rest of the ship. Yeah, well, I think you mean Ship 38. Yeah, we were covering that earlier, Gareth. They're doing some payload bay door testing on Ship 38, which is for Flight 11. And obviously we keep a very close eye on that because we are seeing how the difference in launch rate we're going to get between these two flights with Flight 10 and Flight 11. Hopefully, it's not going to be too long. We're going to get two flights in short order compared to recent era of cadence, because obviously with Ship 36 going rud at masses, it delayed things slightly, shall we say. Say slightly, very carefully. We've got lots of new pad rep members. Thank you for your support and welcome to our membership. You'll get your name in green in chat, and obviously we've got different levels and different benefits, as all channels do with their different levels of benefits there. We're watching a launch here. Which launch is this, Ryan?
That is a
Flight 9.
block. That's a. Is it Flight 9?
Yes, Flight 9.
Flight 9.
Okay, I was trying to look at the flaps right there for a second there. I was looking off the screen, but yeah.
Always my first check is hot stage ring, so it's not Flight 1, and then second is flap, so it's like block 2. That's the checklist.
Oh, David got something from the store. Let's click on it. We can see what David got. We can be nosy and see what David got by clicking on his message. He got the red drone ship Hawaiian shorts. That's amazing. That's visually right. Caught my eye there. That is something where you will not be lack of attention at the swimming pool or the beach. Definitely. Love the streams. Been watching since Flight 2. Here's to hopefully a successful static fire and the launch in the upcoming weeks. That's an awesome message. Thank you for your support as well. I do like the store as a way of supporting us, by the way, and I don't mean that just commercially. I mean the fact that you get something in return. I think that's really cool that you get something from us via the store into your home, be it a print or merch. Is awesome. I really do like that. Mr. Rocketman asks, with what launch cadence will Block 3 start with, in your opinion? So, when they start hitting the ground running with Flight 3, remember they do need Raptor 3s, and they've not got many of them, Ryan, yet, have they? What do you expect with Block 3's cadence? Do you think they'll have a manifest where it'll be quite a slow start, or do you think they'll hit the ground running?
I think it'll be slow to start with, and they'll ramp it. It's a brand new brand. A lot of it's new. Yes, they do have like 7 nose cones in various stages of assembly in the Star Factory, but you also have to stack all those things and test them all. And then not only that, while they may have 7 nose cones, we don't know how many boosters they have ready to go. Currently, they're only stacking 1. Either way, I think it'll start slow because they won't be into reusability instantly. At least not with ships, that's for sure. Boosters they'll probably start reusing as soon as Booster 19 would be my guess. They could even reuse Booster 18, but we'll see. I expect a slow ramp up, and then they'll start hitting the ground running pretty quickly once they get. Once they learn Pad B, they learn the vehicles, and they get going. I think they'll start running with it, assuming it works.
I'm seeing in chat a reference to Elon mentioning Earth to Earth yesterday. I must have missed that memo. I don't know if it was an old video that, you get people on X who just basically click a old video and go, Elon talking about amazing things, and from 5 years ago, and Elon retweets it. It sounds like it from yesterday. If it was a new update, I missed it, and I'm very interested. I've asked you in chat where you've seen it, because I will be fascinated with that, because I do love point-to-point. I'm a big fan of point-to-point, as everyone knows. Drew Nah, pretty sure you can SSTO if you remove all but one seat, control column, life support, the nose cone, and the parachute is in place. Yeah, that sounds like Orion during its poor days with silly rocket Ares, where Ares couldn't lift Orion, so they called it a zero-based vehicle, where they literally stripped Orion of all its capabilities so that Ares could launch it, and then they realized it had thrust oscillation issues. Oh, what a mess of a rocket that was. Oh, I don't know. Poor Ares, it was a silly rocket.
I would barely classify it as a rocket. It's it's let's be real. That is a rocket, a lot is a rocket.
It's a tragedy, is what it is.
There we go. It's on X.
Oh my god!
Oh dear, Ryan's got a picture of the silly rocket. It didn't look too bad on the part. It just looked silly during launch. Apparently, Elon has talked about. God. Alex, have you seen Elon talking about point-to-point? Alex is in the back room yesterday. Because I completely missed it. I mean, fair enough. No, everyone knows got any idea about this. Maybe it was in some reply to someone. X is pretty much of a nightmare these days, where you can't go through replies. You're just looking at original tweets. But I will look for it Thank you for the pointer, though. I will definitely look for it because I'm a big fan of that concept, so I'm intrigued. One final question, because we're at the point now where it's going to be waiting for the chopsticks, and it's going to take probably several hours, if not later on today. And I will take this question that Ryan has answered on Raptor Sides recently, but I'm going to give it to Adrian this time. Just see what Adrian's take on this is. Adrian, John asks, do you know how the deluge will work when it fires? So the deluge system for the orbital launch mount is used to boosters, but now it's going to get to deal with a ship. We've talked about low pressure. Maybe it can fire longer, the actual deluge system that is. Or do you think they'll just do shorter static fires with the deluge running?
It's a very good question. I wonder if it can even operate on like low pressure, like lower pressure. Second question is, do they need a full running deluge even? Because this pad is pretty beefy. The ship's honestly not that powerful versus a booster. So it's a matter of how much do they even need. There's also a huge amount of ground clearance that the ship will have with like the OLM below it. So I think it will. I think the static fire will not be as long as the previous one, and I think it will run as usual.
Very good. Right. Any additional thoughts to your previous comments?
Yeah, as I said before, I think the additional ground clearance might actually be an issue because of a little bit more expansion of the plume because of the RVACs. So it's just going to look weird. I don't think the deluge is going to do too much to help it out. It'll do a little bit, but it's not going to look anything like a booster static fire in any sense of the word, because of course it's 6 engines versus 33, but it's just going to look weird. It's going to look wrong. But it'll look cool because it'll be a ship static firing on something it was never meant to static fire on. So,
yeah. We've got people asking if we've been live streaming the lift. I'll tell you the fun thing is we're live streaming everything because we're 24/7. So you're definitely live streaming whatever happens. I think you probably mean by commentary. I don't know what the plan is, Adrian, for the commentary of the lift.
Plan. We are. I already requested a thumbnail in the background during the stream. We are gearing up to potentially cover that. Yes, like I will always add the caveat if it's at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. Central in the morning, but I don't think, then maybe not. But I think there's a good chance we will talk during this lift.
Very good. There we go. Alpha-X answers your question. Ninja Decimator, as always, thank you for your support. You're always in there. I've got to do the pew 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 because that's the thing we do for you, Ninja Decimator. Let's see how quick Ryan is with the soundboards. If he can pull video that quickly, yes. Don't give Ryan encouragement to use his soundboard because I bet he's got one, unlike me. I've not got one yet. Apparently, Kevin Michael Reid is going to ship me one. He's got me address, so he knows where to ship it. I'm every morning. I'm next to waiting for the postman to knock on the. I'm in an apartment block, so it's downstairs like a foyer place where all the mailboxes are. I'm digressing, but I'm waiting for my soundboard. Anyway, on that bombshell, let's call that a stream for what has been the rollout. This is the part of the stream we've been doing a rollout of Ship 37 to Pad 1, otherwise known as Pad A, ahead of a static fire test campaign this week. That's what we're expecting. And if that all goes well, fingers crossed, because it's Block 2, then we're going to have Flight 10, potentially in the middle of August, all being well. They've still got to take all the modifications down off Pad 1, but we'll see how long that takes. But mid-August is potentially going to be happening. So let's keep our fingers crossed that all goes well with this campaign out at Pad 1 for Ship 37. And that stream we'll be covering, obviously, all the streams, all the events coming up, including the lift, coming up later. Let me thank who's been on the stream, starting with Adrian. Thank you, Adrian.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Also, thank you to Ryan Weber.
It's always fun, Chris. I can't wait to see this MacGyvered, what is it, the chicanery happen in front of us. It's gonna be amazing.
Is that Ryan Caton on his bass? It sounds like Ryan has literally got his bass guitar out and he's. That's really going to call me out. But thank you to Ryan Caton producing in the background. Ryan did an amazing job of this stream, showing how fast he is with his video clips. That was incredible. I was really impressed. But yes, as Ryan plays out on his bass guitar, let me thank everyone who's been in this stream, including all the chat and all the community and all the support we get. It is amazing as always. And until next time, thank you for joining us and goodbye.
And here we go.
SPA chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, Atlantic.
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FTE off. Say again, FTE off. Off. It's orange! 145! Oh my god! Oh my god! Decollage. Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?